Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Terrell Owens, the facts. Fact of the matter is this: Terrell Owens is a head case. He is so enamored with himself to the point that he doesn't see the detriment he does to anyone else around. Donovan McNabb became one of the top players for the Eagles, took them to championship games that they weren't even supposed to be in. They weren't even good enough. He was second in MVP voting in his second year. He's my cousin. I'm saying that he's outstanding because he's my cousin. I didn't grow up with him around, but still. When you hear this situation play out the way it did, you start to listen and you start to learn, and you see different things on the horizon show up. Now, the Eagles did not have the personnel to win a Super Bowl, but they like to blame Donovan McNabb. They get Terrell Owens, who signed, a 7-year, $49 million deal to join the Eagles. And they were like, we're on our way. And after this first year, after electrifying the field, first year, they're tearing up the league. They're the best of buddies. And after the first year, they're predicted to go and win the Super Bowl. And then T.O. starts mouthing off again. Now it ain't Jeff Garcia. Okay? Now it's T.O. going at it with Donovan McNabb. How he's not seeing the ball. He's not getting to the ball. He's not happy about it. Then we have this scenario that shows up and rear its ugly face. Donovan McNabb, toe-to-toe with T.O. And it gets out of hand. Didn't make a lot of sense then. It's not making a lot of sense now. A lot of people wanted explanation to what was going on. Terrell Owens was using Donovan McNabb to renegotiate his contract. That's what all this was about. After the season was over, he wanted to renegotiate his contract because the majority part of his contract would pay him in the third year. So he didn't like the way it was structured and thought he can get a renegotiation. You just signed that deal when you came over to the Eagles. You haven't even started your second year, and you going into this renegotiation for your contract. And think Donovan McNabb is supposed to lobby for your renegotiation. And was like, well, he did it for Westbrook, but he wouldn't do it for me. You weren't friends with him. You just got there. You were not his best friend. You was hell to work with. But you were a tremendous talent. And if you'd have stayed, y'all probably would have won the Super Bowl. But when you got hurt, they had to win all the playoff games. You were out the entire playoffs. They had to get to the NFC Championship game, win that. They got you to win that game. They got to that game, and Donovan McNabb couldn't get it done. T.O. came back against doctor's orders on a broken leg, broken fibula, whatever, to play, and they lose to the Patriots. And instead of having his quarterbacks back, he started some rumors about him throwing up in the huddle and all this. Oh, he was partying. No, he had a bruised sternum from when they put the helmet to his chest. But that's Terrell Owens, always thinking about himself, claiming he's doing it for the team and it's what's best for the team. Knows what's best for Terrell Owens or Terrell Owens. So Terrell was the problem, as he was everywhere he went. Locker room wise, on the field, not a problem. Off the field, locker room, problem. But he was using Donovan McNabb to try to get a contract. He blamed Drew Rosenhaus. Like, Drew had me do that exercise out there in front of everybody. That was Drew Rosenhaus, my agent. So he blamed Drew for all of this stuff he's doing. Talking about I want to be at practice, but I'm barred. They kicked me out of practice. I would rather be at practice. But they got me out here. So I got to do stuff like this. So all this off-season stuff is going on. And now he wants to talk about the Eagles organization. Then he wants to do interviews talking about Donovan McNabb, the guy who was throwing on the ball. Then Dallas says, we got to get T.O. Get your popcorn ready. T.O. passionate. He's a passionate guy. He likes to win. But he wants to be paid as well. And when you see two people can't come up, have a scenario, go the way it's supposed to go, and they're so arrogant, they can't get out of each other's way. Then you got T.O. and you got Donovan McNabb. I'm not going to tell you Donovan did everything perfect because he's my cousin and all that. No. Things did not go well. Things went in a way that just didn't make any sense for the majority of us. A lot of the stuff that was done, it was just blamed on Donovan McNabb. Terrell did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, saying things and creating this dissent. So the Hugh Douglas situation was different. Hugh tried to, punk him while he was in the rehab room. He's in there doing what he's supposed to do, rehab. And Hugh Douglas went to press him because, one, he's a Donovan McNabb guy, like you trying to divide the team. We ain't about that. We got a mission. We trying to win a Super Bowl and you doing this. So once he pressed him, that's when T.O. got up and he realized he thought he could muscle him and they got into a scuffle. And Hugh realized that T.O. is stronger than he thought. And, Hugh lost. And it wasn't good for Hugh, being the tough guy. His career was never the same after that. They was like, you got beat up by a wide receiver? Damn, that can't be good. It was just never the same after that. So when you see scenarios that they put out there in the news and say this is what it is, 9 times out of 10 it's a lie. And people don't even rock that way. But they don't know how to say anything about it. So yeah, so it's like this. Donovan is a guy that, yeah, he got his faults. He might be a little arrogant. Yes, he did tell him to shut the F up and all that. But it was about money. T.O. and this whole situation was about money. And he got his money, he wouldn't have cared about none of this stuff that he was talking about with Donovan McNabb. That they restructured his contract and paid him in the second year. Unlike putting all that money on the back end, he was getting like 21 million in his third year when he stayed 3 years with the team. He didn't like that scenario. He wanted it bumped up. After the first year, he wanted it in the second year. So he wanted to renegotiate the deal because he didn't like the deal that he was gotten from the Eagles. But you just signed it. So once again, T.O. was you loved him and you hated him. It was just that type of relationship with people. He eventually would rub you the wrong way. And this is why he was on so many different teams. He always produced, but that was never his problem. He couldn't balance being a good teammate and being a great player at the same time. He thought by being a great player that made him a great teammate. No, they're two things separately. And that was the difference with Terrell Owens. And he tried to use Donovan McNabb's situation thinking that they'll just go ahead and pay him the money or they're going to risk losing him. Drew Rosenhaus, that was the wrong strategy to take going against the franchise quarterback versus the receiver they brought in who's causing the head coach and everybody else turmoil. They don't want it. They'll just say, we'll just make do. We got to the Super Bowl without you, really, through the playoffs. We'll just have to go on without you. And so they did. Yep. So anyway, I'm out. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate your time. I'm out.